Spanish video. Let's see if I remember to do that. We are like, I don't watch that right now. I just don't. This is one of the things, even when like AA or people or Jehovah's Witnesses, they think they're going to get me on like the detail of their cult. And it's like, no. I don't care about the detail. All cults are the same. Tactics, techniques, procedures. Yeah, he's pissed. Like, he's done all of the things that he can think to do. He's thrown out all these stompy egos. He's had the Marines detain one dude on federal property, and he's launched a kinetic strike abroad. Like, that's what he can do as the American president. Sucks. But all of your last 5 presidents have done, by the way. You know. It's like, it sucks because I woke up today and a bunch of Trump fans found me because I said it's not illegal for him to do a strike. I'm just like, oh, it's too early. It's too early in the day for the bros to think that I'm on their side. Like, no. No, honey. Yes, this whole thing is his temper tantrum. Exactly. And it's also what I said about the strikes that are going to come back. They're striking back because they have to. We know this. When I said, like, I'm glad my husband's not in special aviation anymore, like, yeah. When I said people whose military family members in the Middle East are scared right now, yeah. And then I didn't talk about it that much because it's gross to me to make money on that because that was my family 5 years ago. Last administration. Last time he scuffled with Iran. That was my husband over there. And then people's response is like, nah, you were wrong. I was not. And even if shiz hits the fan like we didn't predict, I still know more about the military than most of you, and I'm still here to help explain. But my crystal ball is in the shop for the next 3.5 years. Adrian's necklace out to her. So we don't do the Daniela competency checking on this channel. I'm a former Army captain and one of the most Googleable women veterans alive, Daniela Mestenek-Young. You can go do your homework. Imagine showing up in someone's kitchen and announcing you don't know where you are or that you hate them. What a weird thing for you to choose to do with your Tuesday morning. Oof. I'm glad I'm not you. I'm just literally here making money and helping people in an industry that I invented. And you big mad. And your tears and hate comments are funding knitting cult van trip across Canada and the Pacific Highway. Pacific Coast Highway. There you go. Okay. Sorry if you're a YouTuber, like you're my new favorite children, but the bros are gross with the comments, so you mostly get tuned out a little bit. Are we coming to Nova Scotia? We're going from Toronto to Vancouver. I know we're stopping like somewhere in Winnipeg, in Calgary, but like it takes like 8 days to drive across Canada at the pace we want to go. So please, bros, I don't need your opinion on how many days it takes to drive across Canada. Okay, thanks. No, we're only making a right. Oh, it would be a left, right? We're only going inland to Portland, I think, to try to see Park Rose permaculture. You would think it's so that we could make political content, and we will, but it's probably so that the two gardeners can just geek out together. Oops, I'm gonna turn this one off a little bit. And I'm just going to be sitting there crocheting, listening to a book. Oh, it's going to be so cute. I'm doing good today. I mean, I've had 2 really packed days, and then I'm going to New York. And tomorrow I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to go to New York, and then I'm hosting a happy hour at 5 p.m. Maybe planning these kinds of things isn't my strong suit, but if you come to the Gallivant in Times Square in New York City tomorrow at 5 p.m., you'll see me hopped up on people and tired and coffee and wine. And we'll have fun. I do global speaking engagements if you pay me to come. Yes. I have one really fun talk, like things we can learn about leadership from cults. I have one really not fun talk on child exploitation, happy, shiny trafficking. And, you know, I can, whatever. Oh, Jeffs. I'm actively writing a book about a Jeff this fall. William Jeffrey Poole. You should Google him while you're Googling me. It's always a Jeff. I've determined it has to do with women who would name their sons Jeff. Probably the men, but for some reason I think it's the woman. Yeah, I unfortunately write pretty good books. Uncultured, my 5-star memoir, was recommended right next to Michelle Obama's for Women's History Month, and is one of the first books by a women veteran on the mass market ever. It's also free on your Spotify Premium. It's always a Jeff. I did have purple hair before, yeah. When I tell you all, I have made thousands and thousands of dollars, like more than $10,000 in 6 months of having unnaturally colored hair, because MAGA cannot stop themselves from telling me how stupid I am because I have colorful hair. Thousands. I've probably made $15,000 from the color of my hair. MAGA can't hear you when you have blue hair. I did do the audio for it. It was really hard. Yeah, easy choice. Imagine if I got a septum piercing. Oh my God. I'd make $1,000 a day just in their hate comments. Oh, okay. We are here to do the sensitivity read. Okay. So yesterday we did mom's comments. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to, I think, make a whole new, oh my God, you make faux nose rings? Oh my gosh, send me one, please. P.O. Box O, College Park, Maryland, 20740, or send me an email at admin@uncultureyourself.com. Of course, I will buy one from you, but we could also I could help you sell them. Oh my God, that'd be so perfect. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Like, yeah, duh, I just have a fake one. Amazing. Oh my gosh, and you all will be happy to know that, of course, I spent all of COVID in a blingy black and blingy gold mask. So those are my masks that I have. Yep, you have to mentally prepare for my book. You do. But I will say, it ends well. And there's no it's like all the trigger warnings, but none of it is like superfluous trauma. Like it's all there for a reason, because that was what I wanted to do. And actually right now I am building my class on how to turn your story into your book, your brand, and your business in, I think, a very different way from what you've seen other influencers do. Because I'm talking about like the content of your book. Write your story, tuck your themes of expertise into it. Now you've written a book about these things. You are an expert on these things. And then you build your platform on these things. And as you all don't notice, or do notice, I don't really try to sell my book. I just get on here every day and give away my expertise for free. And then when I say I wrote this book, people buy it. It's especially interesting when the book has been sold out, because then people come to my shop and they buy my jewelry and my collars and my paintings, because when you're giving people useful information, they want to give you something in exchange for that. So I think, building a whole new model of how to do this. Because when I said I'm going to be the Brene Brown of culture, which we now know is actually just going to be the Taylor Swift of cults, everyone said, ha ha ha. But here I am. I'm still here. Very exciting. Candy Carpenter has agreed to be on the Cults podcast. Okay, if you don't know, I have a podcast. I actually have two. That's what I'm doing today. I have a podcast where we're deconstructing white supremacy, like a cult that it is, me and White Woman Whisperer. It's called Hey White Women. That's whose comments we're going to read right now on the book that's coming out. Hopefully, maybe she'll be at the happy hour tomorrow. And if so, we're probably going to read her portion of Culting of America. Very exciting. I also have a podcast called Cults and the Culting of America, which is like this channel with guests. If any of you want to be on it, by the way, email admin@uncultureyourself.com. The conceit is we talk about your thing through the lens of my thing, cults, right? So you're going to tell us your story, or you're going to tell us your area of expertise, why my stuff works for you, and then come be a guest on our show. Anyway, there is a artist who I adore, Candy Carpenter, who does like evangelical deconstruction music. She has this one amazing song, Cult, where she's like, growing up is like leaving a cult. Oh my gosh, I have to play you the part of the musical that we wrote yesterday. Anyway, her best line, she says, I said I was a Republican in the second grade. Which is almost as good as I'm a little kid riding inside of a mechanical adult. I am a Gemini. As I always say, I hate all of that stuff. Take it away. I'm also 100% a Gemini, and I'm surrounded by Geminis and a few well-placed Virgos to control the Geminis. I also think I'm going to hire an intelligence analyst in September. If you are an intelligence analyst and you would like to do a daily cult intelligence report on the state of America as we launch the Culting of America, other than intelligence analyst, my number one quality is that you be not white, because I am intentionally rounding out my team. So basically, you need to be not an ex-Mormon intel analyst, but like an ex-Jehovah's Witness or ex-Seventh-day Adventist intel analyst. And if that's you, what I'm smoking now is some stuff that we bought, but sometimes it's what Mr. Knitting Cult Lady grows or makes into edibles or sugars to infuse in cocktails. I keep telling him to start a channel, Mr. Knitting Cult Lady Crafts, because he also does cider. Just get you to College Park, Maryland during the revolution, okay? We got you. Also get you to College Park, Maryland, January 20th for the Culting of America. Okay. Yeah, I know you hate my hair. You hating my hair makes me thousands of dollars a month. It's one of the best returns on an investment I've ever done. I cannot handle this today. I have so much work today. My computer is freezing. if I go to Mr. Knitting Cult Lady for help, he's gonna be like, when was the last time you restarted it? And I'm gonna be like, because of course it's been days. Oh my gosh. Speaking of 420, this is the story about how I won marriage arguments for all time. Okay. So I picked a fight with a crow. All right. And like, for as good as an intelligence officer as I am, nobody told me about crows. I didn't know about crows. I didn't know that you can't pick fights with crows. I still can't use my deck. Okay. But anyway, I used to have this lovely space called Vic Brazil. And I would go there and do my gardening and write my book. And it was surrounded in Tropicana. There was no way for anything to blow off. And at this time, if you wanted to 420, you had to be part of the club of medical users, right? Which means your oregano comes to you with a prescription on it. So I go to Mr. Knitting Cult Lady one day and I say to him, like, I think the crow stole my oregano. And he's just like, yeah, okay. Whatever. Okay. 2 days later, bling, bling, Republican dog goes crazy. It's bedtime. Mr. Knitting Cult Lady goes to the door. Neighbor hands him a bag and says, so I think the crow stole your wife's oregano. And then dropped it on the street with the prescription and her full name. Growing up in a cult and having non-American teeth, that makes me a lot of money too. I hate comments. Oof. It's so delicious. Yeah. And here's us. We've just moved from Seattle where like nobody's returning your oregano to you. So, you know, outside of Washington, D.C. I don't want the kids to get this. Anyways, yes, I have the best stories. And I win marriage arguments for all time. Okay. She says, supposedly, I can edit this thing that we tried to edit yesterday. Okay, so what happened is yesterday I know modern feminism is an ideology that you seem to have very wrong, but an ideology can't be a cult. Cults give you an ideology and they can weaponize any ideology against you. So you could have a modern feminist worldview inside of a cult, but a cult is a group. Yeah. Same answer about Swifties. Thanks. And people get so spun up, and then I'm like, nobody does this about sports fans. Whatever you think about Swifties, same thing about sports fans. But those are men. Often white men. At least we can think of only white men if we want to, so we don't get judgy. Okay, what makes cults and why we love them? Reviewing. No, it says I can't edit. I have to pause you for a second. Y'all know how Petraeus and his little side piece were getting away with it? they had a shared Gmail account that they both logged into and left all their emails as drafts. Sorry, did I call him General Petraeus? General Betrayus. Fairly clever. They got caught, but only because pretty much he pissed her off. Silly, silly boy. Oh. Said, oh, you should bring the TikTok people back. I do think the NFL is pretty culty. But I don't think sports fans are cults. That's an identity. Right? It's the same as like someone was like, well, when Taylor Swift fans go out and like proselytize and try to get you to do it, okay, but that's like saying all Christians are in a cult. No, and not all Christians proselytize. The ones that do are probably in cultier groups, yeah. But like the ideology, any ideology can power a cult. You can literally write a sci-fi novel and make it your cult. We call that Scientology. The Dallas Cowboys are definitely a cult. And one of the main skinny white women in the Children of God, who wrote the 762-page pedophilia manual for God, raising a sexually liberated toddler, came to us straight from the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and it's still so creepy. And then I went on to go to college in Dallas. Anyway. So, and also on the whole, is it a cult thing? It's just like, my whole thing is, call it what you want, call it what you want to. Like, that's what we're gonna that's the musical song we're gonna sing here soon. Oh my Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. 7, 2, 2, 4. I'm just at the point of realizing that I need 3 internet devices for the, like, non-computer internet devices for the social media business I'm running, which is great. Yeah, but not everything is a cult. But see, this is what, people that don't want to listen, they just want to hate, don't understand. It's like, no, we're not saying everything is a cult. We're saying cult is just here on the most extreme form of group. It doesn't just like stop becoming a normal organization and become a cult, right? So every group can be compared to a cult, and every person can be compared to a cult leader or a cult member or joiner, and we can learn stuff from that. This is how we do intelligence. Very much so. Okay. File. Download. Word. This one, when I download it, it says locked for editing, period. I'm a little worried that I'm not going to be able to get these edits in today, and then I'm traveling the rest of the week. I have 2 podcasts to record today. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and process Rebecca's comments anyway. So, the sensitivity read. The sensitivity read is something I think is very important. Okay, if you are going to independently publish your own book, there's 4 places that I think you should really spend your money, which is the legal read, the cover, the sensitivity read, and editing/proofreading. Because like, yes, you can do it by yourself, but nobody does a good book by themselves. You're just not good at all the things. So the sensitivity read from Uncultured, I learned a few things, like black coding characters and what that means. I learned, so my sensitivity read is often given to a Black woman because that is a perspective I don't have. That's what the sensitivity read is. For Culting of America, I gave it to my mom, a fellow cult survivor, as cult survivor sensitivity read / information check, fact check, and then Rebecca, White Woman Whisperer, who made some comments. I just don't actually see the document. Oh, you know how I'm gonna miss that line. Yes, she's great. And we've put it's not a whole chapter, but it's almost like an afterword to the book, right? I'm like, here's the 10 things that make a cult. Here is, them in cults, the military, and organizations around you. Even my mom was like, I was interested to see how you're going to pull it all together and make it relevant. But at the end of the day, it's also just a book about MAGA and how we got here. Boom. And then I'm come out at the end and I'm like, just groups. Taylor Swift Eras Tour could be a cult opening ceremony for the right person, the right circumstances, right predator waiting to manipulate you, right? Groups are groups. Maybe groups are the problem. And then I kind of hand it to Rebecca, who gives us a community versus groups, like sort of broader approach, right? Like it's maybe a lot of just whiteness and the way we have constructed groups. And because I walk away kind of saying maybe groups are the problem, right? As soon as you define the group, the easiest definition is 2 people with shared mission, right? As soon as you've defined your members, you've also defined non-members, right? Children of God is the pedophile cult that had a little murder-suicide and produced Joaquin and River Phoenix and Rose McGowan and took in a founding member of Fleetwood Mac. Those are all the reasons you've probably heard about Children of God. Also sang twice at the White House in the 90s, but we don't hear about that. Y'all, your clever joke about asking me if I'm a transgender woman, doesn't work. The most attractive people are androgynous, and again, thousands of dollars. I would say I'm laughing all the way to the bank, but I don't even have to go. You're just typing it right into my bank account. You can Google if I was in the Army. I'm sure your Google works. Daniela Mestenek Young, however you Google that. Or Knitting Cult Lady. I'm one of the most Googleable women veterans alive. Yes, you could have done your homework, but instead you just chose to announce you don't know where you are this morning. That's embarrassing. People are like, oh geez, I was just asking. But yeah, you wouldn't have asked that of a man. It's so funny. You're trying to imply that I'm a man, but you still don't know how to not treat women like garbage. and we're not taking it from you anymore. And that's why you're hot and bothered in somebody else's channel. You're just like in my house, upset, and it's not even 10 o'clock in the morning. You need to calm down. You're being too loud. You need to calm down. Thousands of dollars. I estimate that last month I made $10,000 on hate comments and psyops rumors. I'm gonna play our song now, because it gets better as we practice it. So you see, I was gonna play you all Shake It Off badly, but instead I realized I had a broken guitar string. But as though cult babies can be stopped by something like a broken guitar string, instead we wrote the part of the musical that doesn't need to sound good. You ready? I think it's one of the best parts. All right. So we just had an opening, which is 16 cult members coming out onto the stage, right? I need to set the stage because I'm a creator. I get paid in clicks and views and comments. You being here hating me, typing money into my bank account, paying for a knitting cult trip across Canada and the Pacific right now as you hate me. Just everything you can hate, everything about me. It's just ching 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 ching. No such thing as bad publicity. You should know. You voted for an actor to be president. So, starts out, right? St. Paul. St. Paul is me in all crochet robes, crochet beard, yarn bomb staff, right? This know also that in the last days, perilous times shall come, shall come. This know also that in the last days, perilous times shall come, shall come. 2 Timothy 3:1-3:1. So this is the promise of every cult, right? The world's dangerous. Come follow me. 2 Timothy 3:1-3:1, which is St. Paul quoting himself. If you know, you know. Okay, then he goes, and so the world was dangerous, and I began to corral my sheep. But the thing nobody tells you about the shepherd analogy is that the shepherd always eats his sheep in the end, which is knitting cult lady quoting herself. If you know, you know. Okay, 16 people come down, the last one's Trump. This lieutenant runs out, main character, who is trans, lovely, and says, help, there's a traitor in the White House, come follow me, right? And everyone's like, lead the way, and they go off. Then the lieutenant comes back in. This is also the creator giving you plenty of time to wrap your brains around the fact that the second half is going to be about the military, because people get really spicy about uncultured and its silliness. So she's going to come back in to teach you a cadence. Company attention. We are going to learn a cadence. A cadence is a military tool to blah, 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 keep you in line, da, 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 da. I know, maybe to program you with some ideas too. A lot of cadences about raping. Interesting. Okay, so we are going to talk about, is it a cult? Now you haven't heard this yet, but please try to sing along. Try to sing along when I say, is it a cult? Is it a cult? You say, call it what you want to. When I say, is it a cult? Is it a cult? You say, call it what you want. But now, we're gonna set it to a sick beat. Is it it a cult? Is it a cult? And you say, call it what you want, call it what you want to. One more time. Is it a cult? Is it a cult? Call it what you want, call it what you want to. Alcoholics Anonymous, call it what you want to. Seventh-day Adventists, call it what you want to. Jehovah's Witnesses, call it what you want to. Lying for the Lord, call it what you want to. Put it on the shelf, call it what you want to. Every veteran of every branch of the army, call it what you want to. Catholics, when you're gonna realize that they hate you too. Everyone say your own group, call it what you want to. And basically whoever's playing the character can just kind of go with it. And the crowd can just kind of go with it. Give me another one, call it what you want to. Mormons, yes, you belong here too. Single family cults, call it what you want to. Cults are about labor, call it what you want to. Good job. As you were. And she's gonna leave. Homeschoolers, call it what you want to. Secular homeschoolers talking to you too. Harry Potter, call it what you want to. Parents that didn't let your kids read Harry Potter, call it what you want to. Basically, that's where we're telling everyone they belong. And also giving you the generic cult baby kid language. In the world, but not of the world, call it what you want to. So that'll be stuck in your head all day. You're welcome. And then, by the way, because we got 16 people coming out, this know also that in the last days, right? Then the Marine comes next, and Joseph Smith comes next, and the AA Predator comes, right? Blah, 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 blah. And then there's like a whole nother song, right? And there's the opening. Then comes the end time rap. And it's like the door knockers come out, they do their whole bit, blah, blah, blah. Then the end time rap starts. And by the time you get to this know also, you're like, it's like an old friend. It is. Okay, well, I don't have the edits that I thought that I had. So, there you go. I got a little less busy today. Which is good. But also missing the deadline, which is not the best. Let me tell you about cult, knitting cult van trip. Oh, one of the worst cults in the world, the Children of God, hurt me. And then the United States Army hurt me. And then this country hurt me by being a piece of garbage. So that's who hurt me. And then I built an empire talking about cults and knitting and talking about bad guys. And now I get to do what I want. And your comments make me money to the tune of thousands. Before you ask, both of these pussies have more combat time than you do. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that right there to comfort you while you're clutching your man pearls. All right, so we are, I'm 33, you got time. I'm 38. I wasn't as cool when I was 33. We can get one of these. Is from my mother. So I'm recording my book writing process and streaming it live, but the recordings are available on my Patreon. Once it is a full series, which is going to be about 10 hours of me telling you how I did it, you'll be able to buy that for not that very much. And then I'm going to launch a class in the fall, which is part of why I'm doing the series, because then I'm writing the class. The class is going to be 15 people. We're going to launch it first to the book club, which is also through the Patreon. We're going to launch the class for signups on July 7th. And I don't know if it'll be open to the whole public or just to the book club. We're going to launch 5 seats first to people who can't pay it all up front. And then we're going to launch 10 more seats to people who can. And then we're going to see. But once I teach one semester of the class, which also, like, I'm going to be working on my memoir on American deconstructing whiteness and power and privilege. So I'm going to be talking about all this stuff online. Like, you'll get tons of my writing process in the fall. And then once I teach the class once, I'm going to try to like hire a videographer and make it an asynchronous class that can be available to people. You can get the book without paying money in 500 libraries plus. Also on Spotify Premium if you already subscribe. Gotcha. They really think they're gonna get me with the question. Honey, I was briefing generals when I was 23 years old. Oh, we're selling books, usually. Sometimes paintings. Yesterday, someone literally bought this off of my neck while I was live. So we're selling all kinds of things. In fact, many cult survivors and many Americans have never been exposed to non-manipulative selling, so they don't know what it is. It's very strange for them. Anyway, I think one of the things I'm going to launch, maybe even this summer, I'm going to talk to the yarn provider soon, is a Love Bomb Color of the Month club. So you could just like get the supplies for this delivered and learn how to make it. My book is called Uncultured. I mean, I really didn't want to sell this one, but I did. It's okay. I'm happy for who it goes to. And then I see, but the thing is, like, the videos last forever, right? So then someone will comment on this like a month from now, and I'm gonna be like, my heart will go on. But my husband doesn't like things, and I'm me, so I have to have a regular trade. But yesterday, my brother photographed like, I don't know, 10 of these collars or something. So they're going to be on my TikTok soon. But the other TikTok where my shop's attached. So you should follow me on all the things. I did say husband. Shockingly, I'm married to the veteran that is like MAGA's wet dream. He is blonde and blue-eyed and beautiful and tall and sexy and a special operations helicopter pilot. And he's on our side. Oh, and he brews beer and grows weed and makes products and is personally offended by the orgasm gap. It's almost like it's great to live with women when you're not a misogynist. And we just celebrated 10 years and I got extra bling on my, it was so cute because he thought he was surprising me with extra bling. He thought I would forget that I didn't have my ring for resizing, which is such a man. Okay. And he was getting extra bling as a surprise, but the diamond place was sending me the text messages. Because, shocker, I actually bought my own ring. because yes, I outranked him, which is also one of the funniest ways to just expose people's sexism to them on all sides of the spectrum, politically, by the way. Because they will just be like figuratively filleting Mr. Knitting Cult Lady because he's such an awesome veteran. And then he'll be like, oh yeah, Daniela's a veteran too. What? Oh my God, are you serious? That's so cool. Did you outrank him or something? And nowhere in their little minds is there space for that answer to be yes. And it's so fun for both of us. And they're just like, oh, wait, what? Did he have to call you ma'am? I mean, sometimes he still does. Women have been in the military for over 100 years. Call it what you want. Sexism, call it what you want to. Internalized misogyny, call it what you want to. We all have to learn these things, call it what you want to. Man is the real hero in the military. These men, they're literally tell on themselves, right? They'll be like, no, women can't be in combat because we're going to sacrifice ourselves to them. You are telling me, soldier, you are standing there with your man pearls just dangling free and telling me that you are going to become distracted by a colleague in full uniform, completely lose your military bearing, and compromise the mission? Oh, this is why men should not be in the military. You all are way too emotional and hysterical. Like, you literally can't do anything. You can't even understand that we use different sized people for different missions. Like, stop. Just shh. Catch a bubble. Sit. Just so much silliness out loud. It's too early in the morning. I have not had any tequila. Did I tell you all about the Jack Shacks? Yeah, there's no women in the infantry is because they have Jack Shacks. What is that? If women did it, we would call it a mutual masturbation hut. And we would make sure it smelled good. That's why they don't want women in combat. It's the same reason they didn't want gay men in combat, because then they would feel gay. But as long as you're looking each other in the eyes across the Jack Shack and telling yourself, no homo, it's fine. It's fine. Just don't let the women's know about it. They'll be women-y about it. They'll like tell on you and stuff. Oh, I'm serious. I'm serious. Man, I guess we're gonna sign fucking books. All right. Yeah. The way they ban porn, right? But then like the men just give each other hard drives. But then like every book, because y'all donate books to soldiers, and I don't know why, but what y'all send is penny erotica, right? So like every book, right? Like woman, flowery thing on the cover. And I just used to tell these bros, I would be like, yeah, sex scene every 7 pages. Like this is our porn. And y'all just, whoa, completely blind. Like so blind. Like the way we would eat you all up in a revolution, just erotica novels and blue hair and like pregnant bellies just waltzing past you. War is serious business for serious people. Like, don't leave it to the bros. Nothing that only men like is good. See Elon Musk. Just way too emotional and hysterical for me. Yeah. If you didn't know, nobody likes to hire men as morticians either because they can't keep them off the bodies. Men are just the worst. My husband's a very safe man, but if another woman who didn't know him were sitting next to him in the VA, they would be wondering how many people he had raped, and he would deserve that. All male veterans deserve that. Because they tell you they can't stop rape, but nobody walks on the grass on a military base. I was a captain in the Army, and I could stop all rape within 3 days on any military base in the world. American military base. Or any Spanish or Portuguese speaking military base, honestly. What does what mean? Nobody walks on the grass. You're not allowed to walk on the grass. What that means is if you weren't allowed to rape people, you wouldn't rape people. I would stop it in 3 days. Every soldier would be on patrol for 3 days straight until there were no more rapes. When commanders know they're going to be graded on their weapons, they make soldiers count their weapons every hour on the hour. We don't care about your sleep. We don't care about your food. We don't care about your family. We care about clearing the mission. When there was a man running around Kandahar, knocking men out and raping them, you know how long it took them to catch him? 3 days. 3 days. And yeah, on every military base in America and abroad, there's a place called Rape Alley where women are not supposed to go. This is why men shouldn't be in the military. It's almost like they could do something about that any fucking time they wanted. That was with the frozen bottles, yes. 2011. How many women got raped that year that nothing got done about? At least one of them wrote this book. Being sexist isn't just as bad as being racist, but being that ignorant is worse than both. And probably you are both, so. This is a teaching channel. You listen, we're doing graduate studies. If you don't understand yet, listen harder. Now we're going to do something like sign 1,100 pieces of paper. Because that's the level of author that I am. Yeah, you seem to not even understand sexism, so you actually can't have sexism or racism without a power component. Reverse racism was a thing made up by the alt-right, and you're here just spewing it around with your man pearls flying everywhere, thinking your Johnson makes you special. But it doesn't. It just makes you ignorant out loud. Okay, we're going back to not seeing the messages, YouTube. Sorry. You just get to bask in my wonderful presence. What about unreported or repressed SA? It's huge. I mean, every man in the military is assaulted. They just call it hazing, and then they pass it down, and women don't. Another reason men shouldn't be in the military. Whew. I'm gonna do this so fast. Oh, keep stamping these ones. I'm just supposed to be signing them. I'm already too fancy. I already have people for that. What do I mean hazing? When your staff sergeant starts a whipping naked towel fight in the bathroom when you're all standing in line, when your drill sergeant comes in and starts making you do naked push-ups, that is sexualized violence, and they just see it as hazing. Somehow the women don't do that to each other. Never heard of a woman sergeant making women trainees do naked push-ups. Not one time. Yeah, they don't want us there because we tend to stop the raping and the pillaging. But it doesn't matter because we played their games and quite literally written the books about them. That is so popular, I have to sign them ahead of time so they can be printed out signed for you. You can get my book on my other channel, Knitting Cult Lady. It's one that has like yarn needles and cross stuff, because this is just my creator account. Or you can get it on my YouTube or my Patreon, or really anywhere you get books. But if you're getting it from me signed, then you're like contributing to Culting of America's production and going out. I never said there would never be a draft. I hardly ever say never. See, you all like, you don't listen and then you come back trying to throw my words at me and it's just like, it's never gonna go well for you. So think about what you're trying to say that I said and try again. I've given you many reasons why we don't need a draft and almost certainly will not have one. Not to mention I would love to see them try to draft Gen Z and their parents Gen X. I will be making my popcorn. Oh, honey, MAGA did enlist. They're the largest washouts in the military of all time because they suck. They have little shrivelly man balls and all they're ever going to be is gravy seals. They don't have the ovaries to be soldiers. In their wildest dreams. There almost certainly could not be a draft, and if there was, I wouldn't only be our boys having to sign up for it, which is part of why there couldn't. But you would know that if you listened instead of being fake scared. Because you moms of boys have been being told for 20 years that we're almost certainly not going to have a draft. It's just whiteness and American exceptionalism at this point. Stop. You just go ask ChatGPT and it will fill you in. Oh, imagine going into somebody's house and telling them to stop talking. Is that too loud for you in my house that I bought with the stories about my own life? Did you realize that you telling me to stop yapping is paying for my vacation? My book is called Uncultured. You can get it anywhere you buy books. I sell signed copies on my other 2 accounts. They're both called Knitting Cult Lady. One has a captain outfit, and one has yarn needles and like my logo. Or on YouTube or on Instagram. You can also listen to it on Spotify Premium right now. Oh, I almost... Hey, senor. I know that all of your bros are just like figuratively filleting the president because they think he stopped a war, and yet he's freaking out. I know. It's silly. He's done everything the American president can do, and none of it has worked. And still, you insist on being a Republican. We're going to drive you across Canada and try to get them to help convince you. It's not that I would never go back into service. It is that I resigned my commission before I published a critical book about the Army because I am not a silly koala. So I cannot go back in and they cannot make me. They can, however, make Mr. Knitting Coat Lady the Special Operations retired pilot. So I promise, when you hear me say they've recalled my husband, not even then start worrying about your sons. Not even then. Hey, Ray, you don't get to ask me these questions. Go Google me. I don't like your tone. Daniela Mestenek-Young, however you think that's spelled, you will find me. And you will find every detail you want about my highly annotated life. Even this one video where I was like, this is called competency checking, but I am going to check my credentials. And I was maybe like a shade snappier than I needed to be, but women are allowed to answer any way they want. Still, so many people in that comment felt the need to be misogynist toward me and tell me how to react and tone police and just like took all that permission. No. The difference between resigning your commission and just getting out. So I got out of active duty. See, this is how you ask a nice question, okay? I got out of active duty in 2015, but I stayed. First of all, you have to stay in the inactive reserves, which is like the emergency list for World War III, before they draft your sons, okay? Everyone who signs up for the military has to stay in for 8 years, even though my contract is only 3 years. I stay on the inactive list. Okay, I ended up staying for much longer than that. Basically, once a year, I had to show up and be like, not dead, sign some stuff, decide if I want to go back in or not. I was tempted every year. In 2021, so I was still captain in the Army the whole time. So an Army captain will be for life. The commission is for life from the president, and mine was from President Obama, who I later met and got an award from. Like, it meant a lot to me. But before I published a critical memoir, I resigned my commission so that they could not do something really, really silly, like pull me back into UCMJ. As one does. If they kick you out with an honorable discharge, then nothing. Then you're a veteran. And you're probably not in the inactive reserves because they've kicked you out. They've excommunicated you just without the, we're gonna also fuck up your life. My book is called Uncultured. My next book is called Culting Up America. I'm so excited to share it with you all. Like, I didn't enlist, I commissioned as an officer, and I just think that's too binary of a question. Like, the world doesn't exist like that. Like, so much trauma that I will have to recover from because of my decision to go into the military. Also, everything good in my life is because I took that road, because everything in my life is because I took that road. So, and I think that's part of what healing does. There's this great quote that says, we know we're healing when we stop wishing for a do-over. More than 500 libraries in this country have my book. It was actually a very big melon book in 2022. We were just all hearing about Jeanette McCurdy's I'm glad my mom died. I taught myself to make everything I know how to make. My mom taught me how to knit when I was 5. And had me till I was 15. So I occasionally learned crafts from my mom until I was 15. And then I taught myself. I'm not having problems with book bans. I wish someone would ban my book. My co-writer's book is banned, and I'm getting copies of it so I can sell it on here. I am on Threads. Mostly that platform is not run by me, but is run by somebody on my team. And I kind of hate written platforms because I'm too explosive and people are too awful. And I don't think it actually sells any books, so it's not my fave. As much as you hate the cult, it had skills. And I think this is one of the things about, for example, cult experts or writers who did not have lived experience, right? It's just like, there's this kind of lack of sympathy, which makes you miss things, right? So kind of the flippant way that Amanda Montell of Cultish talks about brainwashing or not existing or cult survivors or whatever, or even Dr. Margaret Singer, like godmothers of cult studies, literally in her 19 Reasons that the Marine Corps isn't a cult, says the Marine Corps is not a cult because it gives you skills you can use in the outside world, and cults do not. Like, stop. Speak 3 languages and make my money selling books and performing. That is 100% what I learned in the cult. Right? But it's like, she still has that level of dehumanization. And we were still in the not listening to cult survivors era, you know? So it's just like, to give you a lot of skills to keep you busy. And also, it's just like, sometimes people are like, how do you know how to do so many things? I'm like, how many things did you learn from your mom? Probably a bunch. I have 50 moms. Actually, probably more than 250. I cook Indian food, Brazilian food, and Mexican food like they are my mother cuisine. And I make really good Punjabi chai. The other day we were making chilaquiles for breakfast. I mean, the children got had 10,000 people in it. Oh, Tex-Mex, please. I'm so scarred by Tex-Mex. I lived in Guadalajara. I was a kitchen slave in Guadalajara, which is like the Houston of Mexico. This is like where the good food is from. Maybe Louisiana of Mexico. And then Belo Horizonte, Brazil, which is also a fine cuisine part of the country. I did say chai tea because I'm speaking to Americans and I translate things sometimes for what people are going to understand. Somebody tried to be like, I love your content, but can you please pronounce Iran? I'm sure they said in their head properly. Like, honey, stop. When I'm speaking English, I pronounce countries in English. And you can do Iran or Iran. Tomato, tomato, and I've never once heard you get mad at me for pronouncing Brazil in English. Para com isso. You probably didn't even know it was pronounced differently in Portuguese, did you? No. Stop. Yeah. The hardest thing is switching your accent. So it's harder to say, I'm blah, 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 and I'm using cilantro than it is to say, blah, 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 I'm using cilantro. When I'm speaking English, I call myself Daniela. When I'm speaking Spanish or Portuguese, I call myself Daniela. You know, like, yeah. Unless you're up in here saying España, like, take it away. I have not yet been to an African country, but I did grow up in Brazil, which is the largest African diaspora country. Hence, I have a lot of African elements in me in a lot of ways, and I am very excited to go to the continent of Africa someday. Specifically, Angola, Mozambique, Well, specifically those two, for Portuguese reasons and childhood reasons. Also, my husband has ties to Kenya, work ties, so we could end up there someday. I've heard Ghana is very, when COVID hit, he was retiring as special operations helicopter pilot, and I was writing a book, and we were going to live on every continent except Antarctica for 2 years, and I was going to then write another book called Chasing Summer. And instead, we were out of Buenos Aires on the last flight out of COVID. Yeah. See, I said Mozambique in Portuguese. Like, I know it's Mozambique, but I'll never say it that way. Like, I'll never remember. Just like I know his name is Joaquin Phoenix, but I always say Joaquin, which is both what we called him in the cult and what we called him in how we say that name in Spanish. Americans are always like, Joaquin, you're so ignorant. Thank you. But my favorite is when people are like, did you know Joaquin and River Phoenix? And I'm like, no, and ironically, I was the famous actress and they were the nobodies on the streets. No, we are seeing more plane crashes. We had not seen a civilian plane crash in America for, I believe, 16 years. Like, we had become used to seeing a plane crash and knowing that it wasn't in America because our aviation was about 99.9% safe. Now it's about 89.9% safe. You are just less safe. You are still more safe on the airplane than you are getting to the airplane. But you don't think about that, but you do think about the airplane. That's why everyone wants to live in a conspiracy theory, because it's easier to do that than to just admit we're less safe. And when I said to you all, we are just going to become like the Latin American countries that we look down our noses at, South American era dictatorship, like, we just have less social services. We just have less safe public services. Reagan started trashing aviation and Trump has finished it. We're going to see a lot more of those things. But you're still mostly safe. Well, I'm not planning to work on Chasing Summer because we didn't have that experience. But on America, so when we came back from from this, we ended up in a 44-foot RV driving around the country in the summer of Black Lives Matter and White Trump America, as I put in the end of Un-American. And so my Un-American, the next book I'm working on, finishes after a chapter called The Graveyard of Empires. The climax chapter is called Salt of the Earth, and it's when we were driving through America. So you get a little perspective of that. But, I mean, and then we missed our window because we had a child. But we're halfway done with the child, so we put her in college. Chasing Summer will resume. It was funny because I told my husband I'd set up the outline for the book, and I was like, this means we're acknowledging that we're going to have some conflict along this trip because you can't tell a story without conflict. Anyways, lots of books. Like, working on the musical this summer. Really, truly, probably going to produce that. Really, truly gonna put The Culting of America comes out January 20th. I'm hoping Un-American comes out like a year later, but that could be much. I have a novel series that I'm working on called Daughters of God. I have an idea for a book called Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, which is a historical fiction about the patriarchy as though the men were real dicks. And Mr. Newton will be have done uncultured and un-American, I should do a picture or coffee table book called Unsolicited with pictures inside the words. You know, many brands. I am 38. Been waiting to be 38 because then I could say I've been knitting for as long as Jesus was alive. Which is fun for me. Hi, YouTube. Still here. Just had to put the chat in timeout because people are too nasty and I'm in charge. I'm traveling tomorrow, but I will not be having my book with me. I'm traveling this summer really to mess around with my family, but we are turning it into the pre-book tour of Culting of America, I guess. It's going to be plastered on the Knitting Cult RV. You're going to be able to sign up for pre-sales. You're going to be able to buy Uncultured in the meantime. Oh, YouTube is much worse for both comments because people can write unlimited and for the live streams because people are not limited on what they can say. TikTok has much stricter rules. Which just, it's like, I get so much interaction on YouTube, but I can't. I simply do not have the time to read someone's 4-paragraph comment. So it just turns into, I can't really moderate and exist in the chats over there. It sucks, but different platforms have different things. TikTok has made a platform that's very good for creators. That's why they've created this creator content. But YouTube has a lot of great features, which is why I'm there too. I'm here to take everybody's money. Need to put my hair up now because it's getting overstimulating. But probably going to bring a bag of my hair tie scrunchies to New York. So tomorrow, happy hour in New York City, at the Gallivant in Times Square, at the bar, at 5. Alcoholics Anonymous, folks, survivors accepted. We will not force you to drink. Oh, how do I keep my curls in such good shape? I pretty much do nothing to them. I've been in the curly girl cult. Now what I do is I just wash them and then scrunch something I got at the Brazilian store into them and then pin them up while they dry. But also my hair gets overstimulating to me very quickly. So as you know from my videos, I spend a lot of time with it like this. It's good for me to realize that my hair was just overstimulating me, not that I hated my hair or that I had bad hair. My husband's starting grad school right now, and it's going to be intense. Thank you. I love the hair. The color of it makes me so much money. It's like a secret weapon. He is getting his master's in plant science. He has his bachelor's in urban agriculture and global poverty. In the military in Alabama, probably at Fort Rucker. I'm sure there are other military bases there, but Fort Rucker is a big one. It's a big aviation one. So happy I never had to go there. The sign-up list attached to my videos is literally just if you want to give me your email. I get kicked off here a lot. But also just for Culting of America. I'm not organized enough to spam you. I'm going to be putting together an email list that like tells you where Knitting Cult Lady pop-up happy hours are going to be and like tells you about new books that come out. Yep, old Dothan. So I don't think the fitness community is a cult. I think there are many fitness cults. So like for it to be a cult, it has to be a defined group in some way. The edges can be porous, like MAGA, many cults are, but like it's still like a group. CrossFit is 1000% a cult. It's dangerous and everybody laughed about it until somebody died. Do not like. But what I say is anything in the space of personal transformation, predators will show up. This is like even true if your church is doing like ministries that attract broken people, right? Maybe your church leadership is not predators, but predators going to show up there to predate on each other because predators know where to look for prey. But yes, so I'm going to have, in the musical, I'm going to have MLM lady, but then I'm also going to have woo-woo channeler lady. And woo-woo channeler lady is going to be wearing like a crochet version of Bjork's swan dress in teal. Sue me for that. You can absolutely come audition to be the woo-woo channeler lady. My plan is that we cast it, and I'm going to cast each role 3 people deep, right? Because that's how we're going to have the values of the show must go on and caring about individuals. And it's obviously going to be traveling. And so I feel like when we travel, like when we go to a city for like 6 weeks or whatever, that third round of actors, like they're the cult babies and veterans from that town. And I feel like if I successfully create that, I'll have to keep it going for 10 years. All the cult babies a chance to come sing and dance in my musical. And like some of the parts of the chorus were kind of just be so chanty. Like you're not going to have to be the best singer in the world if you don't have like certain parts. Really, all it takes to be good at acting is fully committing, and we cult babies know how to do that. Because one of my favorite scenes at the end of the Have a Day song, they're pushing, the whole chorus is pushing the lieutenant down, right? Like physically putting pressure on her. And she's like, I'm fine. And she's like, I'm not fine. I did run distance much. I won a marathon too. And then as she says that, and her knees just kind of like drop onto the duffel bag, and she drops her head, and then like the internal voice is going to say, but the cult baby motto is, and then probably the whole chorus is going to say, I can do it with a broken heart. And then she's going to throw the chorus off, take that bag, and go, I'm fine. And that's going to be the Into the Skinny, Skinny Blonde Woman climax song. But Have a Day is definitely going to be the bop. And I think also Call It What You Want, Call It What You Want too. That's how we're going to chant it throughout the show. People already like, all I've written is have a day, ba-da-ba-da, have a day. People are like, can you please write the rest because it gets stuck in my head and I need more. So, you know, we're working on it. I'm at the stage, like, I gave birth to this idea on December 28th. Okay, it's still a 6-month-old baby. I have written down bad words for the script. Every first draft is perfect because all it needs to do to exist. But it's a very, very perfect first draft because it sucks a lot. And I keep telling myself I will work on it. And one of the things I want to do was work on it on the train. But I discovered last night that Daniela should not be in charge of operations ever because she did not buy the train ticket. So now we're going on the bus, which makes a very big difference to motion sickness and what I can plan to do. So I will almost certainly be listening to audiobooks and crocheting. Love bomb collars. I do not believe in God, and I have never believed in God. And I have a shirt that says just a neurodivergent atheist born to religious fundamentalists. And people like to buy it. I probably need to make some custom corsets printed with fun things. Now that we're in the new era. My favorite. I mean, no, I can't do favorite. My favorite thing to relax is actually to just listen to fiction and do crafts. I am signing 3,300 pages for my book that are going to be printed into my book. Uncultured, because we are going to order our own print of them, and then when you buy them here, they will come to you hot off the printer, but also signed. Okay, what kind of fiction? I really like historical fiction. I'm like big Tudor England, but I also like sort of like Mao's Great Leap Forward China. I also really like fiction and nonfiction of like African immigrants in London. Just different fascinations I have, perspectives I don't have, etc. I loved Outlander. Love like everything Philippa Gregory has ever written. Literally everything. I love Isabel Allende is my favorite author. She does like epic Latin American based. She's the niece of Salvador Allende, who was ousted in the coup. And she does kind of like epic transgenerational novels about women, and sometimes set in kind of like fictional Latin American countries. And when I read her series, Daughter of Fortune, when I was 18, I was like, oh, one day I'm going to write a series like this called Daughters of God. And I'm working on it. And it is Isabel Allende meets uncultured 5 generations of mothers and daughters that come under religious extremism. So I've written every word she's written too, in Spanish and English, some of them. I really like like from Thanksgiving to January, like a true soldier, I do no work. And I usually just read witch and vampire novels. I have this whole thing about vampire time that I'll probably have to tell you some other time. 100 Years of Solitude is amazing. I'm not the biggest Latin American literature fan. I tried in college, I really did, because I can read it all, but it's just... But also, I'm changing. But I did love 100 Years of Solitude, yeah. And finally, I really love this category of fiction that is like feminists retelling Greek mythology. Circe, which is, all of them. They're all just beautiful. Hera by Jennifer Singh. 100 Years of Solitude is Gabriel Marquez. Garcia Marquez. The author of Circe and Song of Achilles is Madeline Miller. Jennifer Saint writes a bunch of good ones. I recently read Hera. There's a good one about, Phaedra, who's one of the women who actually did really falsely claim rape And this one author was like, what if it wasn't false? We know that probably Zeus didn't possess her and make her go mad and fall in love with her stepson. So what if actually he just raped her? And told that story. We know that it wasn't Golden Rain that got Dani pregnant. It was probably her own father. Yeah. We know that literally Madeline Miller's story is like, we know that the way that Odysseus tells the story, like the way the man tells the story is this crazy powerful witch who just turned men into pigs for no reason. But then Odysseus saw her and pulled out his sword and then just said, let's go to bed together. And then she just caved. And Madeline Miller was like, let's try that a different way. And Madeline Miller was actually a PhD student doing a thesis on Patroclus and Achilles. And she went to her thesis, whatever, right? The cult leader in charge of her PhD. And she said, so it turns out I actually wrote a novel about Achilles and Patroclus instead. And he said, oh, please tell me you made them lovers. So there you go. This feed will be on my YouTube if you want to see it for book stuff later. Yep, Clytemnestra. I mean, they're so good. Like, Greek mythology is obviously very, very problematic, but like, again, just let women do it, right? Like, I did go through OCS. I ran my way right into military intelligence. Old Fort Benning School for Boys. Where I beat all the boys and make them cry. Still, in my happy place, I keep the sounds of men's souls dying when I pass them on a hill run. It's just the sound of misogyny. They just go. Oh! With like so much pain and crushed man pearls, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Officers do have to be fast. The Army in general cares much more about you being skinny and fast than anything else. Mr. Knitting Coat Lady was a special operations helicopter pilot. Always mattered more that he was skinny and fast. I ran a 5:15 1 mile. I did okay. These men will come up to me and be like, man, like, it was like, you really hurt my man pride when you passed me on the run. I just like, I'd be like, Sergeant, you run 8 50-minute miles. I run 6s. We're not punching in the same weight class. Have a day. Just silly. People be like, man, you're so mean to them. He didn't have to come here with his Johnson out like that, just waving it all over the place. Like, nobody made him do that. He could just kept that whole thought to himself. I was running about 1540s in OCS. No, sorry, I was running 13s. It took me 4 years to break 12, but my fastest 2 mile time was 12:29. Mr. Knitting Coat Lady's fastest 2 mile time, 12:28. In reality, I was a faster runner than him. Regular to beat. Oh yeah, I can tell you I do a proper push-up. All right, so the problem most people have, men and women, with doing proper push-ups is blocking out your core. Okay, so this is what you do. You get down in the push-up position, okay? And then you Legs out, no knees, push-up position, and then you try to do a crunch. You will not be able to because there's a floor there, and now your body's locked out. And now you just go up and down as fast as you can until your arms or your wrists give out. Yeah, this timeline is just about weirdness. I literally woke up one day and I said, my life is fascinating. I wonder if some people want to know this stuff that I know, and I'm going to find out with this big research project that I do. If it's your kind of weirdness, join the party. If it's not, thanks for the hate comment money. You can move on. Because nobody actually recruited you to be here. Push-ups are actually super easy to get better at. And they can cut your arms really fast, so. Yeah, push-ups. Used to be my thing. It was like arms and abs. You run fast, you work on your arms and your abs. I am calm in this chaos because I was being tortured in South America when I was 5 years old. And I've been to war twice. And I'm currently sitting in my air-conditioned house signing books and making jewelry. What I still need to, I keep meaning to make a video about this. What people are actually dealing with right now is not even fear. It's cognitive dissonance. It's so weird to have to be like, are we about to be in a big global conflict? But also we're still going to brunch. Right? So in people's heads, some people right now are desirous of like some big sign that like life is no longer normal. All bets are off. Because it's weird to be like people in the world are dying and we're going to brunch. And I was not born in South America. I was born in the Philippines. But I grew up in South America. Well, I grew up in Latin America. Peru, Brazil, and Mexico in that order, but with years of 4 to 14 in Brazil. So heavily Brazil, but also heavily Mexico because 14 and 15 are heavy formative years in Manila. But we were all deported by 5 months old. So I spent the first 3.5 years of my life in Japan, then Peru, then Brazil. Then 8 months in San Diego. Then I was trafficked through Mexico and lower Texas as a teenager. And then when I was 15 years old, I was kicked out with $0, dropped off in Texas. I speak Portuguese, Spanish, and a little bit of English. I can count to 10 in Punjabi, and I speak a tiny bit of German. Probably a few words in Dari. I have playlists on here in Spanish and Portuguese. And I'm gonna put Culting of America in Spanish for sure. Probably Portuguese. I also studied in Germany in college. And I was adopted by Punjabi Canadians in college. It's fun when people try to tell me I'm culturally appropriating. Please explain to me where I'm from and which influences I'm allowed to use. I choose all of them. I just told you about how I was born in the Philippines and spent the first 3.5 years of my life in Japan. I was in Baden-Württemberg, Germany, in a city called Friedrichshafen, which is right across the biggest lake in inland Europe. Oh yeah, also Portuguese and Spanish playlists on YouTube. My forgotten favorite children. Not even the Indians and the African influences of Brazil. That was a big thing for me, realizing that like, oh, you can't recreate Brazilian culture in America without addressing the deep segregation of black and white in America that doesn't exist in that same way in Brazil. Not to mention I'm also deconstructing whiteness, so yeah. And by the way, part of my homework to myself for deconstructing whiteness and white supremacy and dealing with white privilege is I pay black people more, tip them better, and charge them less. And the only thing it ever makes me think of is this does nothing to equal it out. But anyways, I'm giving that to you, some of you white people that are doing this work also. You can just do that. My favorite place to live, I mean, Brazil, my heart is very Brazilian. So if I had my druthers, I would be living somewhere around Recife right now, which is also where my adopted Brazilian host daughter is, who's 24 and about to be a surgeon. Very lovely. Hopefully will also come be in the musical. Oh, I ended up in the military in part because of a toxic relationship, also known as a 1-1 cult, and that was actually the hardest chapter of this book to write, even though it seems like a nothing chapter. The colorism, oh my god, like I dated a Dominican guy once, right? He was black, I'm white. We would just speak Spanish when we were in public just to get people in the head. I mean, it was bonkers. Oh, we danced so good together. But he literally would say to me, he was like, oh, my mom is gonna love you because she is going to tell me that I am mejorando la raza. And his mom was very upset when he married a black woman the first time. And it's just like, no. That's... However, when it was said to me that way, it stood out to me more than when the actual white supremacist that I married a decade before that was like, or 5 years before that was like, you're a beautiful face structure, blah, blah, blah. You know, all of this is what I'm unpacking in Un-American, the next book. Yeah, mejorando la raza. Or here's one, right? I was raising Knitting Cult Baby to be trilingual. 5 years Portuguese, 6 years Spanish. So proud. And it was so interesting, right? Because like when culturally, right? Like I have to present my Latina credentials at the door, which is fair. And once I do, I'm always accepted, right? But when I had a little girl speaking Mexican Spanish and showing up at the playground like Monday, you know, like I didn't have to convince Latin people that I respect their culture, right? Like here is my child living it. Also got to see the difference of the way I was treated speaking Portuguese, which white Americans assume is French, looking at me. And I would literally have to say Brazilian Portuguese, because if I didn't emphasize the Brazilian, they would try to argue with me that I was from Portugal. But what I really noticed when she was a 3 and 4-year-old, perfectly trilingual, blonde ringlets down to here, was people just falling over themselves, white people, of course, to worship her language skills. Which, look, I worked very hard for it, and I was very happy with it, but I just started to be like, do you do this with brown children? Like, are you this impressed when brown children speak multiple languages? Or black children? So, I say culturally Latina, like I literally lived for 10 years in Latin America before I even came to America. I also thought one guy was my father for the first 12 years and he was Mexican. But I'm not actually Latina. But again, I've never had, and this is kind of my answer to, at first I was like, I'm from nowhere. And this was kind of a theme in Uncultured. This is the theme of my deconstruction. And now I'm at the point of my healing where I'm not from nowhere. I'm from everywhere. And I will have written 3 books to explain that. And I understand that some people that don't know me are going to think that I'm a cultural appropriation. And I'm okay with that because I'm over here having fun and dancing to my own tune. And nobody who actually is from those cultures, I think, is offended because I'm doing cultural appreciation, not appropriation. And I know why all of those pieces are in my life. Like I started making the love bomb collar because was trying to deal with the fact that there isn't anything Mexican about me, and that's not fair. And like, I don't get to say I'm Brazilian because I wasn't born there. But the non-American country I was born in doesn't give you birthright citizenship. And many of my 25 siblings get to say they're Brazilian because they were born there. And none of them still speak Portuguese. I think one or two of them still speak Portuguese. But like, not as well as I do. They haven't kept the relationship with Brazil alive the same way that I have. But I wasn't technically born there. And I just don't care. Like, I'm from Brazil. I'm from Mexico. No, so you got it backward. You're the one that has to go away. You're the one that's in my kitchen. How embarrassing for you that I have just explained to you how adulting works. Yes, silly koalas. I have a force visited El Paso, Texas. I was trafficked through Mexico and lower Texas, and then I spent 6 years living in Texas. And then I was in the military. I've been in Texas a lot. Even gave the commencement speech in Dallas a few years ago. Oh yeah, I mean, for Culting of America era, we're gonna have red, white, and blue hair. Let's face it. Yeah, and even by the way, like as I explore this identity, like I'm like very strictly like, no, I'm not Filipino, right? Like you don't get citizenship for being born there. But listen, like I was born in the Philippines to a 15-year-old white girl early in NICU for like 3 to 4 weeks. Other than my mother coming in to breastfeed me, I probably only saw Filipino faces for the first 4 weeks of imprinting of my life. And so I talk about that, and Filipinos like, no, you're one of us. Come over here, we'll teach you. Oh my goodness, really just white people that can't just sit with things and think, that are all like, oh, but cultural appropriation, I'm so scared. Stop. I buy Ghanaian earrings from a local artist here, and I don't think she has a problem selling me African earrings with my white skin. I think she enjoys the fact that she's selling her art. It's not considered stateless, but if things got really goofy with removing birthright citizenship, I could potentially be. But no, I've always been an American citizen. People are always like, how did you get to come be an intelligence officer? Never committed treason. My first language was English. But like cult English. Oh, my hair has been all the colors that could be sort of considered natural. Everyone asks me if any one of them is my natural hair color, even vampire red. And then I have had purple strip, pink strip, blue strip, green strip, kind of unicorn mermaidy strip because it was all mixed together. Briefly explain the cult of the army. I have a 10-part list. Number 1, charismatic leadership. The leadership of an organization can be an idea or a person. The cult of the army is led by an idea. That idea is the American Constitution. A president is just the first human in the leadership structure. Okay, number 2, sacred assumption. We are the best, down with all the rest. Number 3, weaponizing the mission, the transcendent mission. We are here to protect American interests overseas and abroad. How do you define that? It can be weaponized against you very easily. Number 4, self-sacrifice of members. I think that is self-explanatory, but it is used to break you. Number 5, isolation. People like to say the military is not isolated, and I used to say, you're right, but when you go to deploy or go to long-term training, when the military is billeting you, you're isolated. But the more I thought about that, the more I realized that in 6.5 years of active duty, I never once was presented with an opportunity to date a man who was not in the military. We're isolated. Number 6, Oh, this is opinion, this is lived experience, and I'm the only cult expert in the world that we know of that has military experience, and I've written 2 books on it. One of them which has a 36-page bibliography. You can just sit and listen. I'm not even done with the list. Okay, number 6, distinguishable vernacular. My whole job here is translating military language to you, so I think we understand that one. Number 8, exploitation of labor. The Department of Defense would close down tonight if they had to pay overtime. The German military, by the way, pays overtime. Okay. Number 9, high entrance and exit costs. Love it when people try to tell me you're free to leave the military anytime. And number 10, ends justifies the means mentality. So that's my 10-part definition of cult from an organizational psychologist perspective, with the 2 perspectives that I have not found in the cult literature: the cult baby who understands it better than anyone else, and anyone with military experience. If you have those same perspectives, I would love to hear your opinion on what makes a cult. If not, I'm the teacher. People are like, oh, you just don't want to hear from anybody. This is a teaching channel. This is a channel for me to share things that I know with you. I'm a good teacher, so I often respond to questions and interact with the students, but we are not equals here. Yeah, if you're a man, you probably can hear it, and you're probably terrified because nobody's ever put you in your place before. You're also probably quaking in your knees because I have more military experience in one of my ovaries than you have in your entire shrivelly little man body. All of which you would know if you had Googled me first. Do you have any credentials, they say, as they watch me sign thousands of sheets of paper of my best-selling. Oh, women don't owe you anything. We're not listening to you anymore. And we all played your game. And we have your silly baubles. I'm just going to get this one and leave it right here because old Michael won't even know how badly he's being insulted right now. But some of you will. Some of you will. There we go. I have to go exactly at 11:30. So y'all need to keep me on track here, okay? Yeah. As I've said before, I'm in the try and come from my job era. If you have all of my perspectives, I promise you we will have a very interesting conversation if you can remain respectful. Otherwise, like, go write your own books about your theory. It's also the other things. People think that as an expert, I have to produce products that are not biased. No, no, no. I'm teaching. I'm trying to teach you my theory about cults that I think is one of the most complete in the world. Who rolls up to a seminar and yells, prove it? Yeah, men. Men do, if the teacher is a woman. This is part of my job. Just modeling for other women that you don't have to take this. I have boobs and brains, and there's nothing you can do about it. I built my own world. Men are. They're too emotional and too hysterical. It's just like, this is serious business for serious people. I do not know Tara Westover, but I did write Uncultured after reading Educated and then sell it as the next Educated, even though everyone told me I was crazy. And now people regularly refer to her book as Uneducated. And I did that. But no, I think when you sell 10 million books, you put up some walls around you that make it pretty hard to reach you. I'll know with the next one. Oh, I have some mushy Cheerios over here. Some books are not signed. Signed comes from my social media and unfortunately not this account. Probably going to be buying a third device so that I can have the account with the books going at the same time. But either of my other two Knitting Cult Lady accounts that have a shop attached, you can get the signed book there. This one's just going to be the creator account, I think. Trying to play TikTok's game to my benefit, not theirs. Yeah. And this whole completely owning yourself, right? Like, I think this is very important language. And I say this, like, we talk about the power of owning your story as in healing, but we don't talk about the power of, like, I put all the worst things that happened to me in a book and I own it and I sell it. It doesn't fix anything, but it can buy time and space for healing. And it also means that I get to do what I want because they can't cancel me because they don't know where my power comes from. You can monetize your accounts, then you just have to play by their rules. Or just get kicked off all the time like I do and then keep coming back. About the Educated book that I listened to Educated in 2018 and I said, I'm going to write the next one of those. And then I did. And I actually called my book Cultured because I was so in the model of Educated. And then my co-writer called it Uncultured, and then that was the title. And now it's Uncultured is such a big book that people call Educated uneducated. And I'm saying, I did that. I rolled my eyes back at everyone who rolled their eyes at me and said I was shooting too high. Now I have a picture of my book next to Michelle Obama's on Goodreads recommendations for Women's History Month. And it's the third year in a row. Average people stop what's happening in the US governments by being Americans. Being jerks, not sitting down, pushing back, voting, getting other people to vote, having hard conversations with your father-in-laws, even though they might be mean and grumpy. That's what we all need to be doing. This is called the GAFB, the German Armed Forces Proficiency Badge. One of the things you have to do is an 18-mile ruck march with a lot of weight. My father-in-law is MAGA. If you're about to try to imply that I don't have hard conversations about my family, I write books about my family. Stop. Many things have changed since January 20th. I know I haven't gotten anything wrong. No matter how much you all yell at me. favorite is this. Like, if you're gonna quote Knitting Cult Lady back to herself to try to prove her wrong, go listen to the video again and make sure you heard the words. Because I promise you I was there when I said them. And I promise you that even if I'm super wrong about what he does next, I still know more about the military than you do. What I mean is that white people are still here saying, what are we going to do? And talking about revolution, but they won't even have hard conversations with their own husbands or fathers-in-law or mothers-in-law or family members about them voting for a tyrant. That's what I mean. Okay, so if you follow me on YouTube or Instagram or any of my other live accounts on TikTok, you can get the signed book in all of those locations. It's just not like on this channel. So knitting.cult.lady, the other one that just has my logo in it, you can get it there. I was in the Army for 6.5 years, and I would like to note, Aaron reads, that you probably would not have asked that of my husband. Who was in the Army for 20 years, and still I outranked him. You all think if you put just out of curiosity in front of the question, it's not disrespectful, but somehow you're just not curious with a man. Too many women are complacent, and I also think this is why too many women are afraid to deconstruct whiteness and misogyny, because then they're going to have the conversations with the men in their beds. And that's hard. When my white man got worried about the SAVE Act and said he didn't know what to do, I looked at him and I said, "You're really saying that to me in the most powerful body in America? Stop." Eat. I'm gonna go talk to White Woman Whisperer about white supremacy. I'll try to tell myself to get through this stack, so I just have to stop. Buenos días todos. Muchas gracias. I'll see you in New York City tomorrow evening. Wish me luck on a 4-hour bus ride. We'll be in San Diego, probably the last week of August or something. It's not 1,000% sure that we're actually going to make it all the way down to San Diego in limited time, but we're going to try. You're going to try. All right. Bye, YouTube. Put the live chat on. You see anything? Yeah.